What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video, we are going to address how Republicans could potentially support Democrats. That's actually pretty big news. I reported on this yesterday afternoon as well, but we got new updates on this morning from the White House, so I want to address what is going on there. We also know that right now there's a large group of businesses that are pushing certain Democrats to kill the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. That's not great news, but at the same time, that's exactly what's been happening over the past couple of months. Now we're just starting to see the reports come out that yes, this is really true. These certain senators are being pushed and backed by certain businesses. That's not great news either. Also, the $1.2 trillion bill is going to have a vote on Monday. Now, you're probably thinking that's good news. It's going to happen? Yes. The problem is if this vote happens and it gets the support from Republicans that Democrats currently do not want, then yes, the $3.5 trillion bill could be dead. So I want to address all those things in today's video, but first, I just want to touch on stimulus checks. Just really quick. A lot of people are asking, and I addressed this yesterday. A lot of people are asking, are we going to see a stimulus check? And the answer is, I don't know. I am not a lawmaker, okay? Even lawmakers have no clue what's going to be in the next bill because there's so many disagreements, and I will touch on what some of the disagreements currently are. But as to seeing a stimulus check, experts believe, and according to some reports, lawmakers think this is the same thing, the same process that they might have to go through. But in order to see a stimulus check, there's a few things that have to happen. The $1.2 trillion bill cannot be voted on. If it's voted on, there's a chance it passes. The $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill cannot pass. It's currently still being negotiated, but it cannot pass. If both bills don't pass, and the third thing is the economy struggles. That means people go back on unemployment, the unemployment rate spikes, COVID cases surge, hospitalizations increase, deaths increase as well, right? We have all those things. People need more nutrition assistance. It would be more beneficial for lawmakers to scrap both bills, both the $1.2 and the $3.5 trillion infrastructure bills, and start over from ground zero. Put together the one bill, and then that one bill, there's going to be the most popular piece of legislation, possibly stimulus checks, and then they build around that. According to experts, that is going to be the most likely situation and scenario in order to get a stimulus check back into this bill. So, that is the talks on stimulus, but let's get into the update for today. So yesterday, I reported how a large group of Republicans are contemplating whether or not to vote in favor of the $1.2 trillion bipartisan bill. And that's going to happen this coming Monday. Now, a bunch of people had questions as to why Republicans would even consider supporting this. And let me explain this, because it's actually pretty in-depth. But let me try to explain this here. And if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. But here's what you know. A pretty substantial group of about 50 progressives. They currently say they will not vote on the $1.2 trillion bill until after the $3.5 trillion social infrastructure bill is passed first. So progressives are saying we have to pass that $3.5 trillion bill first before they would even consider voting on the $1.2 trillion bill. Well, if this happens, currently the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill doesn't have enough Democratic votes to get passed. But this is where Republicans can actually step up and help. And they could help themselves in the process. If more than 50 Republicans come in and vote yes, even though progressives are going to vote no, that would mean this bill would still have the majority in the House and the bill would pass. But keep in mind, the bill has already passed the Senate. So if it passes as is in the House, which is expected, then yes, it would go straight to President Biden's desk. He would sign it. Okay? Now, he could essentially hold it. I think he can hold it for like a week or 14 days, something. I think it's like 7 days. He can hold a bill on his desk. And after 7 days, he either has to sign it and accept it or veto the bill. I don't think President Biden is going to veto this bill. I think he would eventually sign it. But that would at least give Democrats another 7 days to get the $3.5 trillion bill done. So, here's what we know. If the bipartisan bill passes, progressives would simply lose all the leverage that they had against senators like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Those are two senators that are currently saying they oppose the $3.5 trillion bill for multiple reasons, but the main one, the first one, and the one that they both agree on is it's too expensive. It needs to be closer to $1.5, possibly $2 trillion. But what happens when progressives will be forced to listen to these two senators? What happens is the bill will either go from $3.5 trillion down to $1.5 trillion, or the bill will not pass at all. And either way, Republicans would get the win. Now, one of the reasons why Republicans want to support this is pretty much twofold. The first reason why is there are a large group of Republicans that do support infrastructure and investment into our future. They support that. That's something they supported even when former President Donald Trump was in office. However, at that time, last year, we were dealing with the pandemic. So passing a bill on infrastructure wasn't the main concern. It was on stimulus and on fighting this pandemic and getting through COVID. That was the issue. But also by supporting this bill, Republicans essentially kill talks on the larger $3.5 trillion bill, which is essentially what they want to do. Okay? So this is essentially one of those good news, bad news situations. But again, I'm just trying to provide you the facts of what's currently happening. Now, yesterday, and even this morning, the White House has stated that President Biden is willing to hold meetings with Republicans in the House to try to secure their votes. Because right now, there's not enough votes to pass this bill in the House. But if Republicans jump on board, there's more than enough votes. But right now, the White House is saying they're going to take this day by day. But according to reports this morning, the GOP might not even have to go and to do a meeting at the White House because they are already on board. They're already looking into this. And this is something they've been looking into since Pramila Jayapal and progressives said they would vote against the bill. Well, great, vote against the bill. But as long as the bill goes to the floor of the House for a vote, there will be enough votes, according to multiple lawmakers. Now, even though the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, it should be good news. Passing this bill should be good news. But it also means it could bring things that won't pass. Okay? Or there could be things that will not pass. So we're going to have this new discussion of, okay, well, we passed this $1.2 trillion bill, but what happens to everything else? Well, here's what we know. Things are still trying to be hammered out. Okay? They're still trying to be hammered out. Right now, there's a lot of discussions still that are ongoing to try to figure out what should or should not be included into the $3.5 trillion bill. Again, Democrats have very few days left to get this bill finalized. But here are some of the current discussions, the current disagreements that Democrats are having. Some are wanting to see more taxes to the rich. Obviously, President Biden backs the tax on billionaires for unrealized investment gains. I think this would be insane, but it is something that he backs. Some lawmakers have publicly stated that anything over $1.5 trillion and some over $2 trillion would not even be considered. Bernie Sanders is firm on making sure the expansion of Medicare is included into this bill, but Senator Joe Manchin says he wants to hold off on expansion and he just wants to stabilize Medicare. He does not want to see Medicare go insolvent in just 4 years. AOC wants to include 5 months of enhanced unemployment and benefits. This is something that obviously millions and millions of Americans lost on September 6th. Pramila Jayapal backs a 60-day eviction moratorium. There's issues regarding immigration. This morning we also heard that some are opposing the IRS transaction cap. This was essentially supposed to be $600. You spend anything over $600, then the banking institution would have to report you because you spent over the cap. Well, some oppose this because it would be too much for those banks. Many people buy things that are over $600 on a daily basis. Now, not everybody, but a lot of people do. But now these Democrats are agreeing that possibly let's keep this, or let's put this at $10,000. Now, there's already a provision out there that anything over $10,000, any transaction over $10,000, the banking institution would report you, I think, to the Treasury Department. And this is pretty much just to avoid money laundering and things like that. But they're wanting to set this cap to $10,000. Okay, so again, it's going to be reported. I believe it's to the same. I think it's to the Treasury. It could be somewhere else. I don't remember. But they want to set these both at $10,000. And so now some are saying that yes, that seems a little more likely. But again, some oppose this. President Biden wants to see it out of just $600. So we'll see what happens there. Some don't support the full 4 years of the child tax credit payments. Some say it needs to be 1 or possibly 2. And there's many more disagreements as well, but we'll probably just stop there. What I can tell you though, even though there's a lot of disagreements right now, okay, even though there's many disagreements, Progressive Chairman or Caucus Chairwoman Pramila Jayapal, she said that she is committed to getting the Build Back Better Act on the president's desk as soon as possible. Today, okay, because this is what she said yesterday. She said tomorrow she'll be working on the bill in the Budget Committee. So that is today. What I can tell you right now is even though it is possible that Democrats get the $3.5 trillion bill ready, at least for the House, it's almost impossible this bill would even be considered in the Senate because there'd be so many disagreements. Now, that would most likely mean, and this could be a strategy that Democrats are going with. What we're seeing is if Pramila Jayapal gets this done, Bernie Sanders is ready to go. If Democrats and progressives can get this $3.5 trillion human infrastructure bill done, ready to be voted on, it would most likely go to the House, be voted on in the House. Chances are it would pass in the House. But in the Senate, that's where they'd have issues. But if they can get this done, let's say Monday, they can have a vote on Monday before the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, then once the bill passes, President Biden can sit on that and use that as leverage. Okay? So that might be the only leverage progressives have, is to get President Biden to say, okay, I'm going to hold on to this bill. Let's continue to work on the $3.5 trillion bill, and I want to have just one big signing. I want to be on TV. People are going to see me sign these two bills. Big bills, bold, robust, legislation. This is going to be, some of the biggest bills that we ever see, right? That's what we're going to see. That's the narrative we're going to hear. So, reports right now say the Democrats plan to vote on the $1.2 trillion bill. Progressives will most likely vote against it, but we could see a delay. Okay, we could see a delay from President Biden. That's what we're hearing right now. So again, even though this is a good news, bad news situation, the good news is we're getting closer to the end. The bad news is we still don't know what's going to be in the $3.5 trillion bill, and it could be coming up for a vote in the matter of days. According to reports, in the matter of days. So that's what we know regarding the stimulus package and the infrastructure bills. But according to the CDC, let's jump into a little bit of COVID news for today. The CDC says that masks are actually helping keep schools open. The CDC says without a mask, schools are about 3.7 times more likely to have a COVID outbreak. And that having a COVID outbreak means the school would have to shut down. When the school shuts down, parents cannot go into work. When parents cannot go into work, the businesses, in some instances, have to shut down. When a business shuts down, the economy struggles. So, the CDC is pretty much telling us when children wear masks in a school, it keeps the economy flowing, keeps the economy open, keeps businesses open, keeps parents working, keeps children in school. So the CDC is saying we need to make sure children are wearing masks in school, at least until every single person in the United States, or pretty much in the world, can get a COVID vaccine. We also know that the White House is more worried about the vaccine holdouts as opposed to booster shots. Booster shots are great. Booster shots are going to work, according to multiple experts. However, if you never go and get the vaccine, if you do not plan on getting the vaccine, then a booster shot is not going to help millions and millions of Americans. The only thing that's going to help them, or actually not even Americans, every single person in the world that's not going to get a vaccine, the only thing that will help them is they actually have to contract COVID. That's the issue. They have to get a natural immunity. So that's what we're hearing right now. But as always, as I know more, I promise I'll be back on to share any of the latest news and updates. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. Have an incredible weekend. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.